All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. We are live streaming IPO debuts today here at IPOwarriors.com. I've got on the list today LUCY, TNON, OST, and SVRE. I'm going to pull these up here first on my phone here just to see if we're going to get any idea of whether some of these are not going live. Looks like OST and TNON are all pretty well accounted for. I saw pricing on OST was at $4. TNON was priced at $5. So when we see pricing, we know they're going live. And then let's see, what was the last one? LUCY. I'm not sure about that one yet. LUCY. Lucy, maybe not. Don't see the pricing on LUCY here. Okay, we got some confirmation here from Harry. Welcome to the show, Harry. Tenon and OST, those are the ones we're playing today. The ones I was focused on anyway. LUCY, not so interesting. It's kind of a interesting idea, but I don't know if it's really a full-fledged company. That certainly not something I want to invest in. They make eyewear with like built-in speakers and microphones, so kind of like a headset you wear on your eyes. Not the most interesting thing. Good morning. Morning, all. Waiting for Allie to join us. Hopefully she comes on soon because I get boring and bored talking to myself. But we got some things to cover here before she joins us. I think she's got her show, actually. She's got her chat group at 10 too. So let's review what's on the docket for today. I guess we can take Innovative Eyewear off, and SaverOne. I guess they are not going live today. But we've got Tenon Medical and we've got Ostin Technology. Tenon Medical, they have an FDA cleared, that's 501k approval, proprietary medical device that optimizes sacroiliac joint fixation, which is lower back pain. Looked a little bit further into this. It's a device and procedure that kind of fuses one or more vertebrae together and helps relieve lower back pain. They are doing, actually, I think there's no warrants in this one. This is wrong. So this whole slide is wrong. I'm going to take that down because I think I screwed that up. Better if I go to the newsletter. Let's see what I wrote in the newsletter for these, because I tend to develop my thoughts. My thoughts evolve a little bit further as I write the newsletter, and I come a little stronger, more prepared in the newsletter content. So I'm going to bring that up. Guys, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, I'm not sure how you found out about this, maybe on Twitter, but go to IPOwarriors.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You get the recap for the IPOs from the previous week and how they were played, with a little bit of insight on what I'm looking for in those plays going forward. And you get an email at the start of each week, usually about Tuesday or Wednesday. I sent the last one out last night. I try to wait for the calendar to materialize a little bit more, since things can be changed in the middle of the week, and then do my write-ups and send them out. So what we've got from the newsletter last week was that TNON is a company developing an FDA-cleared proprietary medical device designed to fuse one or both sacroiliac joints to treat lower back pain. Revenues and growth profits are up year over year, and the company intends to use the proceeds of that IPO to fund marketing and expand its product. Okay, I just got my allocation on OST. I had requested $1,250 worth, and they allocated $200. So I got 50 shares at $4 a piece. which means that there is enough demand here to, from retail investors like me to only give us partial allocations. That again, 50 shares is pretty healthy. I mean, we've had some that were as little as 5 and 10, so it's not a super low allocation, which on one hand makes me a little bit wary of any debut that is too high of a premium, because people like me are probably going to bank their profit right away. So we saw this with MHUA, Mhua, which incidentally had the same underwriters as OST, was that it dropped down out of the debut into a halt before reversing up into an upward halt movement. So we want to be aware of these allocations do provide some indication on where we'll see things go from, at least on the initial debut. That plus the share imbalance as they're pricing the stock at the beginning of the before it goes live. That gives us an idea of where things might go. I'm going to take a look over. I'm in Benzinga Pro, and all right. So let me show you something here. This is interesting. Benzinga Pro gives us. It has a great screener. I like the screener, especially early in the morning. But it also gives us some indication of, okay, Ostin will quote at 10:10 a.m. Okay, so we've got about 23 minutes until OST is going to start quoting. So basically at 10:10, we can start seeing the share imbalance. These IPOs, these low floaters, typically go live after 10 minutes. They have to balance the shares, the buyers and sellers, for 10 minutes before they go live. And that means that we're probably going to see the first trade shortly after 10:20 Eastern time. TNON open for quote at 9:50. So we're 2 minutes away from TNON starting to quote. So keep that in mind. I've been allocated 50 shares. I'm actually not sure what I can do with that. I think I only have one day trade left in my Webull, and kind of need to save that for selling OST. Let's see what's going on. Sorry, my Skype here. Gotta tell someone that I'm in the middle of a live stream. 1 second here. Okay, so we've got times for both of those. That's great. This is helpful information. We don't have to sit around all day wondering, what time it's going to debut. For the low float IPOs, it's a great. We got Ali here. What are we doing here? Good morning, Ali. Oh. There we go. We're hearing something.
Hey, sorry, I'm trying to get everything in the background situated since I had to move my computers.
No problem. You got a new privacy screen up, yeah?
I do. So because I had to reconfigure my desk, the front door is in the background now, and the light comes through it. So
me streaming or you streaming?
On what?
Screaming for streaming.
Shouldn't be me. I'm on.
All right. I got. I don't know if we're both frozen or if that's just. Welcome back.
Did my screen just freeze?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop some stuff. I've got a lot going on.
All right, we're gonna be jumping into TNON here real quick because they are.
Are they open?
No, they're gonna start indicating. Probably now. So.
Okay.
Don't mean to cut short the introduction. If you guys don't know Ali, she is Trading Fit Girl on Twitter. Has mastered the longer play on these IPOs where she's looking for the lockup period expirations. Essentially, the play is that there are a number of shares and warrants locked up on these IPOs that insiders and some of the other early investors have been sitting on and are just waiting to exercise but they can't do that until these lockup periods expire. So typically what we see is, in the interest of keeping their investors happy and giving their executives and other inside holders a chance to actually make some money on their locked up shares, they will kind of hold a headline or use an algorithm, or they have various devices at their disposal by which they will run the share prices of these stocks on or into the LPX, as we say, the lockup period expiration. So, little moniker we kind of crafted together to standardize the lexicon around these trades. The other one that does not really apply to these, apparently, is the QPX. That's the quiet period expiration, which does apply to kind of more mainstream IPOs where the underwriters are Goldman Sachs and Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. They will actually abide by that rule and not release any news about ticker until until it's been 40 days. But with these low float kind of crapcos, there is no such adherence to those rules. So you're going to see news drop whenever they kind of feel like it. But TNON is not indicating yet. Sometimes they don't indicate. It's not like a rule that they have to. What I am saying here is that they're no, it looks like it's NASDAQ, which is frustrating because that's one of the things we expect to get from these. But I do see that there aren't any sellers, and this is kind of what happened with AERC. AERC debuted the day before Thanksgiving, which is like a half day, and we kind of didn't really expect anything serious to go live on Thanksgiving. So when it did, it was sort of surprising. And the AERC priced at $10 a share and debuted at $40 a share on tiny, tiny volume. And then it went up to over $100 through just halt. I mean, it just didn't, there was essentially no time to trade it. It was just open and halt, open and halt, open and halt. And that's what we might see here because it's the same underwriter. And I've heard similar things from a guy named Steve who just chimed in here in the chat. So nobody's going to sell their shares, and anybody who wants to buy them is going to have to buy them at an absurd premium here. And I simply don't have, I'm kind of locked in on my E-Trade account with kind of a little bit too spread out in trades right now to leverage anything there. And with Webull, I got to get myself into the day trader minimum, which I'm moving towards slowly here, but I got to conserve my day trade to get out of the OST allocation I was given, if not add a little bit more here. But
how much did you get on that one?
I put in an allocation request for 300 shares and I got 50 shares.
Okay, so I put in 100 and I got 25. It just pulled through.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Whole 25 shares.
Yeah. Well, little by little, these if we see the kind of open that we're hoping for, that can those can add up.
True.
Never look a gift horse in the mouth. So we're gonna stay. But it really looks like I don't know if it's maybe E-Trade will give me an indication if I sign in.
Do you see anything on Lucy?
It looks like Lucy's not going today.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything up, but I didn't know if it was NYSE. I hadn't checked it. I probably should just pull my spreadsheet up, but
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it's not giving us any bid or ask on E-Trade.
Yeah, I don't have any.
So sometimes I get something there. But this is incredibly thin sell side volume on the on TNON. So
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't know how to get you into this trade if you really want to be. There are very few shares here being offered. I know that I can't consider this to be a complete listing, but if you want to go in at 30, you may get in. That to me is starting to get into a very dangerous level of playing these. I kind of psyched myself out and got in way high one time on a big order and got crushed. So if you are going to try to play this, be conservative. Yeah, it reminds me of Sea-Doo because that's the one that killed me. Halted up, and then the halt of death absolutely destroyed destroyed me for a while. I'm back, but that
Shit
was
happens.
yeah. You learn. You can learn a lot the very hard way in this market. It is unforgiving.
I really feel you learn a lot more when you mess up than when everything's going well. Like when I've got stuck and stuff, that's when I really started learning the plays, not about the company. I don't care about the company. But when I've been stuck, I'm like, all right, when is this going? How do I get out of it? And yeah, so
it's interesting. Yeah, definitely, because I think when you I strung so many wins together in a row that it was inevitable that I was going to develop some kind of bad habits. Because you tend to get, or I at least tend to get more flexible instead of more conservative. I think that eventually becomes a bad thing in trading. I think that the more conservative you are over the long term, with my daughter's Webull account, I have been very conservative, and it's continued to just I've never taken a huge loss there. Whereas in my own account, because I was able to accumulate so many wins in a row that it was life changing, and it still is. But I started getting a little bit looser with my plays, and especially after I take a big win, I would go make some stupid plays. So yeah, you learn far less from doing something right a bunch of times than one thing wrong, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, don't do that, and start taking those wins when you can. All right,
definitely like sports.
Similar to sports, yeah.
It's very similar to sports.
Yeah.
Well, you learn from getting kicked in the face or running into the pole or other random things.
Yeah, getting caught on the inside of a set wave, teach you
to
find the current. Yeah.
Yeah.
What sports do you play, Allie?
Soccer and swimming are my two.
Okay. Yeah, so. Soccer or football, as we say over here in Portugal, I guess. Yeah, that was my first sport. Played lacrosse in college, and then played basketball kind of all over as I've traveled around the world. Basketball is probably the easiest one to take with you and get on the court, make friends. But surfing's like my passion of passions. So.
Yeah, I like the water. Everybody's afraid of what's in the water, and I'm like, man, it's not gonna hurt
where I'm from, you should be afraid of what's in the water. Yeah, Northern California is great white shark central, and I've seen people here lifted out of parking lots, and but it's really nice to be back near the water. I think most of you know my story by now. I left Ukraine about 2 months ago, and now we're in Portugal. We're about 500 meters from the ocean here, and even have a swimming pool in the apartment complex right outside here. Just took my daughter into the water for the first time since we moved here. She loves swimming. She started when she was 4 months, and she's a little water bug. So getting some lack of good IPOs this year is depressing. I agree, Ian Nelson. But that doesn't mean there haven't been some solid plays. It's just, slimmer pickings, and we are having to play these kind of like, they're companies that have to have a combination of, they're all low floats, so we can just throw that in there. But the day two run has been a play that we've been looking at. They kind of like sell off all day on day one, even sometimes on day two. STSS gave us a nice pop on day three. But the other plays, just randomly, some will run. Yes, we've gotten the Chinese variety, the local Chinese place, or Asian place, like last week.
Tenon is open.
Okay,
2205.
2205 and halted, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Insta halts. Love it. All right, I'm putting it in the tracker.
So it started at 2205 up to 2426. And, what we're kind of expecting is for this to just keep halting up. That's the look that we're expecting. It could halt down at any time. At some point, it will reach a top and start halting down. AERC was halting all the way up over 100, then down to 60, then back up to 100. And it did that for like a day or two and then just sold off. So if you decided to play this one, and if you got in on this open, looks like you called the right play, and hopefully this moves up for you. So the volume, we got 18,000, or we got what, 20,000 shares. That's solid. Love to have gotten in on this. I don't have the spending power to get into this one, so I would look to ride this out a bit. Although, Ali, I think you have tools to better project where this could open.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, let me get IB up. Give me 1 second. I don't even know why I didn't think to open that. Hold on 1 second.
Meanwhile, we're still about 8 minutes away from OST starting to price, and that should start pricing right about when TNON starts to comes out of this halt. No shares out there. Steve calling it out. It's going above 30. I agree. This looks poised to run.
I think it's my internet today. I'm on wired, but it's still just mud slow right this second.
Okay.
So if I freeze, that's why. I might not actually be able to open more programs. We'll see. I'm trying.
Anybody has a heard that Trade Zero went down yesterday, but if anybody has, I'm seeing a bunch of buy orders, a few up at 26, 28. More sellers coming in here at 25, 24, 25. I can kind of try to loosely visually correlate what's going on here, but buyers don't seem to be willing. They need a few more buyers up here to send it higher. I just see it as there's not going to be any shares trading, so that would be kind of. We just think that if there's nobody selling and there's people still willing to buy, then it will go up, and the gaps are going to be so high that it's going to halt automatically.
I feel this is just going to be insta-halt all day, like similar to JCSE.
I think it'll be even worse. I think it'll be more like these uplistings that come out of nowhere with no shares at all, like OP, or what was that one we had 2 weeks ago? We had one that just there's no time when it's trading. It's the only way in and out is with limit orders. So if you are in this and you're thinking about where you might exit, or if you want to bank some profit right away, the way to get out of these, because you can't set a market order right now and you can't really set a stop loss, is to set a limit order below whatever price you're willing to take. So if you think this is going to open, or you don't want to take a loss at 22, below 22, you can set a limit order now for 22 or 23 or 24, whatever you think is below.
So we've got a little bit of range on it, and sorry, we're getting close to the halt. To not mean to cut you off. So we've got 25 and 21, and now 22. So it's moving. Honestly, on this one, I wouldn't try to get in it just because the range is moving so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could fill and it could just fail. one thing that we talked about, not you and I, but one thing we were talking about in the room, some people were asking about marketing in on the halts. Bad plan, very bad plan. Even if you get filled, like, let me rephrase that. On a limit order, you control it a lot more. On a market order, it's going to do it wherever. So right this second, we basically have a 220 range on it. And when it opens, it could just go crazy. And now I'm getting a 30. Like it's all over the place. Mm-hmm. So on halts, unless you have like super tight risk on your stop loss, which you can't even put in on a halt on most brokers, not a good idea to market in on a halt. So, and I know there's tons of upside on them, but it's one of those 50-50, and that's dangerous. I like safe things.
E-Trade won't even let you set a market order while it's halted. So, good. I mean, you kind of would have to wait for it to open. It's just, I don't even think it'll be open for more than a split second. We've seen these just open, halt. And, that's what I think we're going to see coming into this one.
Yeah.
And which is, again, why limit orders are the way in and out of these. So someone's calling out 2187. So we could see, I mean, there's no rule that says people have to hold their shares. Remember, and this is the other thing that you really have to keep this in mind when you're trading these kind of setups, is that this is a $5 IPO. So even if everybody who got $5 is all sitting there going, well, we're not going to sell, we're going to drive this price up. There's no rule that one person with 50,000 shares can't just say, you know what, I'm pretty happy with 500% on my, whatever it is, 400% on my investment. I'll sell at 25. Anybody wants to take it. So, and the other thing to remember is that this is coming back down. This is not going to live up at 25 for the next week. We don't expect it to. AERC, I think, lasted a few days, and then people were taking it off 60 back up to 90, 60, and they kind of bounced around there for a couple of days. And then all of a sudden it just sold off. And where is AERC now?
Where I like to get in.
Yeah. Now it's at $2.75. So
actually a little high price for me.
Yeah. So remember what you're playing here. You're playing a $5 IPO. Don't get it in your head that this is a $30 stock that the market just mispriced on the IPO. They're like giving it away at a discount. No, this is this is the dynamic of demand outstripping supply temporarily. And once the supply decides that actually we're going to, bring more supply to the market, it will overwhelm demand and it will crash down. So be light on your feet with these, lock in profits early, don't get greedy, take profits without regret, and don't chase. I would say that if you're not in this already, you're chasing, and it can halt either way. But I do not like to play these. If I'm playing this, if my hypothesis is that it's going to rip up through the opening debut through a series of halts, I want to be in on that initial debut. I have made that mistake before, which is why my second rule is don't chase. You chase, you're already giving up 10% of the play, because it's already halted once. It's a 10% halt. By the time it opens again, it's going to add a few more percents if it's still percentage points if it's moving up, and you're kind of late to the party already. So I do not like to chase. Okay, now we're seeing 1981. Thanks, NASCAR, all out for queuing us in. Could you post, please, what platform you're on that's allowing you to get the indication here? Is it Net Zero or Trade Zero? 25, 21, is it 1981? So now we're seeing people who are, this is where panic can set in and send this down the wrong way. When that happens, this could be one of those halt of death setups where you thought you were in a good position when you bought in and halted up. Now it starts halting down and you get kind of screwed here. All right, so now we got a sell side imbalance on OST. Now with OST, I see now it's at 8. I'm going to focus a little bit over here because I like this one, and don't mind adding a little bit to my position to play this. I have an IPO allocation, $8, a little dangerous. It reminds me of Hoodie, which later went crazy, but debuted, price at 5, debuted at 8, and dropped. So don't get too reckless with your trades here. But some shares there just for fun. So if you want to get into OST, the indication price is at 8. We've got a buy side imbalance. Now it's 10. Okay. So I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I have 10 on mine.
Yeah.
Tenon just did another extended.
What did it do?
It's on the second round of the halts.
It halted again?
No, it didn't open. It just, how they do the 5 minutes,
okay.
It didn't open at the 5 minute.
Okay. So we're seeing a buy side of 10 here on OST 1025. So if you're wanting to get in, you need to, on the debut, you need to put your limit order just above that. I don't understand what's going on. Give me a second here. I got to figure out why.
All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to talk about a couple things that are going on right now with the LPX plays. We've got a couple walkers that are multis. I've been, going through these a lot, but sorry, I've got 9 screens up in front of me, so that's why I'm all over the place. We've got a lot moving. So BLBX is an IPO, or excuse me, it's an uplist that is at lockup. That has been a multi-day walker. No, I didn't play it because it had that initial spike, and I don't like those. So it spikes, comes back down, doesn't hit the EP, but it is walking. So if you guys want an example of the uplist walkers for the multis, BLBX is definitely it. And then, of course, CYN. CYN is just IPO walking its way up. It is past the lockup. Both of them are. So I mean, they can hit the EP whenever they want. But these are the stocks that I use as the examples for why you don't want to just get in and hold on the IPO debuts. All of these die. Every single one of them, 100% will die and get boring because there's just no reason to run them in between. So when you see Tenon or wherever OST opens today, I mean, just understand, like Matt was saying, with these, they're going to go up and they're going to come right back down. All stocks just gravitate to zero, and that's how it works until they need to run them. So if you get stuck in one of these, if you chase on this and it comes down and you're stuck, I mean, you're stuck probably 90 to 180 days because that's where the lockups are. Some of them pop in between that, but for the most part, like, I mean, it's boring, and you don't want to kill capital like that. There's no point. So, all right, rant over.
So OST is kind of floating around here with the sell side imbalance around 9 or 10. On one hand, I sort of like that we're being given an opportunity to get in. There's only 60,000 shares being paired up. That means if you want to buy in on the debut, it looks like about 10, 11, 10, 50, 11 would be where you set your limit order. We have about 5 more minutes, though, until this is going to go live. Should go live in about 10:20. So Webull would not let me place an order, but now it just did. Usually when they are one of the desks that's offering the IPO, they can't open it up for trading until about 5 minutes before it goes live. I've noticed that on E-Trade and on Webull, so I just added a little bit to my order. If it does go down, I would not be surprised if we saw this halt down off the open, simply because we're here at 10. We've been stuck here at 10 with the sell side imbalance. So It keeps flipping back and forth, but this is a very low share count here. Even for a 3 point, what are we sitting at here? It's a 3 point. Someone call out the float here if you've got it there.
I think it was only 4 million.
Yeah, something like 4 million. So, when I see that and 62,000, that's not a huge. That is not a huge volume for the opening trade here.
Hey Matt, how'd you do an order? It just said I couldn't do a limit order on a debut. So I'm trying to do a limit order
Webull?
right now on it. Yeah, I'm on Webull.
Okay.
And when I did it
on the app.
Oh, it says pre-IPO order is only available for day and day. I'm on good till cancel, maybe? Oh, my defaults.
So
all right, let me try that.
Down, I'm starting to feel a little bit more nervous. This is looking so much like the hoodie debut. Still a pretty low volume, but I'm kind of starting to see a potential halt down before a halt up. And I'm okay with missing these, but I kind of want to try to undercut this. And if not, then I'll miss, I'll sell my what I have. But $8 is a little bit.
Tenon opened and closed at 1566. I just noticed it. Sorry, I was looking at OST.
So that is the halt of death.
Yeah.
Can it reverse around? We'll keep an eye on that. But that is not pretty if you got in on the debut. And it, kind of hurt you on the way up. And now it's hurt you on the way up. Now it's come down. And if it continues down, then you're just in a really stuck position. So somebody's putting in an order, it looks like on Tenon, for 40,000 shares at 12. If sellers start to panic sell, that's not going to be, that's not pretty. OST, sort of like, it's not as strong as it's not as crazy as what we've seen in some of the other Chinese IPOs. Above 8 kind of looks like strength. Could go either way really, but the float is so low. And I think a lot of people are going to be watching this. So I feel like playing it, not going to do anything crazy here. I'm going to go up at like 950. Just take it in. If it halts down, I'll keep holding it.
You're talking about OST right now?
OST, yeah. I'm focused on OST. You guys, I'm on the wrong screen here. Sorry, you guys have been looking at the newsletter this whole time.
All good. So
now we're seeing 911.
How I'm going to play it is, of course, that 30% that I generally do. So
you're looking for this to come down before you enter it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm never going to buy anything into strength. So when it opens, I'll wait a minute, kind of see, and then wait for it to taper. And if it just goes straight up, then I'll obviously sell my 25 shares. But if it comes down, I'll go ahead and add on it. Yeah, it just depends. As far as the price action goes on day one, everybody in my room is going to give me shit for this, but because it's a day trade and because it's technically a scalp for me, I don't look at the actual pricing. So if it opens at 8 or 9 or whatever, I'm going to look at what it's doing immediately after. I do like that 30% down. That is a key number that has saved me a lot, just being patient and waiting for that. And then, of course, if it comes down low enough, then I'll hold it overnight for the initial pop, which haven't really been happening on day 2. We've had a lot of the day 3s. So a couple different variables there, but it's not like when I'm getting in on the LPX plays and I like them at $1. If this opens at 9 and it comes down to 8 or 750, I'm going to be interested in it. If it opens at 9, technically I would like to come in at 6, but who knows? We'll see. But
we did see ACON last week drop on day 1 and rally into day 2. Before that, STS
and I played that.
Took an extra
We're
day.
open 10 and not halted yet. 10:06 was the low. It opened at 10:10. I'll put that in the spreadsheet.
Okay. And then what, up to 11:11 to halt?
There's the halt. Nope, it still is running. There's the halt. Nope, it's still running. Come on, stop. 11:11 will be the halt. There it goes.
Yeah.
All right, it stopped.
Okay, I'm going to switch over to another. So I use the desktop app for getting into the trade because for some reason they don't have the share and balance on the. They don't have the share and balance, the pre-IPO balancing. They don't have that on the web browser version, but they do have the desktop seems to be trailing in terms of the live pricing. So OST, we are looking at 11:11.
I never share P&L, but I have to do this because it's so funny. On my 25 shares right this second, I'm up $177. Like,
winning.
That's so weird. My room's like, why are you sharing P&L? But that's pretty funny. So yeah, 25 shares. Okay, maybe. We'll see.
There you go.
We'll see how this goes.
So I added to my 50 shares. I added 100 shares, and
where did it fill?
It filled right at. Let me see. I've got a notification. Hold on. Order filled. 100 shares filled at $10.10.
Okay, so right at open. Got it.
Yeah. So what I'm doing, guys, this has been kind of the key play for me. Especially last year in the year, 2020 and 2021, like IPOs were just running off the debut starting at about May, June 2020. IPOs were just opening up and running up. And these were mainstream IPOs initially that I was playing, things like Lemonade, NCNO, Big Commerce, pretty much anything tech that could be tied to a good story was debuting and just running up. And I had no idea where to see the indication price. I was just literally sitting around all day knowing that the IPO and these, we know what time they are going to start pricing. We can understand that it's going to be about 10 minutes and then they're going to go live. But, with the mainstream IPOs, it can be hours. I mean, I would be sitting around from 10:30 to 11 for hours, just sitting there waiting for it to start. And then I was just buying as soon as I saw it start. It had already jumped up, a couple points. Then I figured out or was taught how to see the pre-indication price, especially on the NASDAQ stocks. And that really was game changing for me because I could allocate my spending power, accordingly. I mean, these were pricing at like $25 on the IPO and then debuting at 40. And I had no idea where to set my price or how to get in. It would start trading. I'd be rushing to set in just a market order. And I was missing, on these halts, it would be impossible. So learning to set the limit order before the debut at the price that, that was just above the limit if I wanted to get in. So for me, I just set it at 10.85, and that got me in at 10.10. If you set the limit order above the debut price, unless you're doing a huge amount of shares, you're not really going to affect the what the price is, but you're going to get your order filled right at whatever price it opens up at. So you could set your limit order at $20. It's still going to buy you in at 10.10. And now you're sitting here in the first halt. My hypothesis has been that this is going to be, a stealth IPO. And the first halt, I'm going to sit and watch. And the second halt, we're going to see where this goes. But yes, this was available on Webull. I got allocations. I got 50 shares. I only got 25 shares. So those shares are, up over 100%. That's a nice little gift for Webull to give us. And I wouldn't say go buy all the IPOs that are offered on Webull. You want to know which ones are likely to have this kind of setup. Most of them don't. Most of them are kind of these crappy ones that price at $450 and then open at like $350, and they give you a warrant, but it pretty much it's hard to even get out at at a positive number here. So, all right, we are seeing this. I don't know. Got an order here at 10,000 shares at 20. So this I would expect to halt up again. I'm expecting this. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, but the rule that I sort of apply to myself is the 3 halt rule, which is if we get 3 halts up, I just say, okay, that's enough. There was a time when I was playing these with much larger, had a lot more spending power at my disposal, and until some of these other LPX plays that I'm stuck in run, I won't be in that situation. But if you bought 1,000 shares of OST, for example, on the debut, looks like 98, basically 100,000 shares traded in that opening minute there. So if you got yourself in for 1,000 shares, you don't have to sell all 1,000 shares at once. Consider staggering your exit. And if I had, taken a large position in this to start with,
just opened down at 13 and insta halt again 1540. OST is indicating 1326.
So OST looks like it's going to go for a few halts up. That's what we saw with GNS. That's what we saw with what was the one last week? Was JCSE.
The laundering company that told us they were laundering.
Yeah, we
Sorry,
are.
I've been making fun of that all week.
But we actually had a cleaning company before, which was EJH.
Yes, which is at 51 cents right now. Good job, them.
And what did they go to? What was their 52-week high? Can you see that?
I don't even know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've been playing it, and I stopped the other day because I started getting a bad feeling. But their lockup's not until next week, so it's kind of one of those like things. But yeah, it's definitely really gross. On the high is, where is the high? Seriously, 80.92 was the high. Imagine chasing that.
No,
nope.
I can't. I can imagine holding into that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, buying the debut. It debuted, I think it.
Oh yeah, that's totally different.
And that I think it was day 2. So we haven't seen one of these play out into much of a day 2 rip like we saw in the original stealth IPOs. But EGH was one of the original ones. That caught a good win on that one, I believe, as I remember. But SOPA was the last one that really gave us that. I think it debuted at somewhere under 50. It was like, it was 15.55, and then ripped up from there. It went over 30, came back into I think the 20s, and then on day 2 ran even harder, up to like 70. So there are, if this really goes full ham, fully crazy and just keeps ripping up and up and up, and then settles out. We have seen a trend where these can baseline at a certain level, and then on day 2 go up even further. We haven't seen that for a while. It's not a trade that I've, it used to be that if I was playing this with like 2,000 shares, I might save 500 shares for a day 2 run. I like to it feels good to me to like sit through a couple halts, take profits, and be like, all right, well, that was great. Made a couple grand, or made some pretty substantial money on these when I was able to attack them with bigger positions. But right now, playing this, with what I've got available, and happy to kind of incrementally level up my kind of. What's funny is I'll say I play conservatively with this account, and here I am buying some Chinese LED manufacturer whose IPO price debuted at more than double the IPO price. But conservative, I guess, is a relative.
Smelly trash is the best.
Yeah. So
it really is.
But this is a nice setup here. So we are in a halt, looking like it's going to come out strong. And TNON, it's really, I guess they're both converging into the same price range right now. TNON just started way high, and OST started actually at a really friendly entry level price as far as these go. So here we
So
are.
1375 is where we're at right this second. And my room is talking about an OnlyFans site for stock porn, like just charts. I love
Why
it.
not? Yeah.
Right? Oh, so weird, but it's okay. It's not PB&J sex, so I'll take it.
I'm not looking for a reason to branch out into OnlyFans. So.
No, gross. That was my first response. I'm like, ew. And he's like, no, chart porn. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, meanwhile, the SPY continues to crash. My other big positions are killing me. So I'm going to take solace in taking some profits over here. But the market is not reacting well to all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that it's been swimming in for weeks. Not sure when it's going to bounce, but not fun to look at.
And we're in an additional time. That's awesome. All right. So obviously I don't have YouTube up, so I can't see any questions. Do we have any questions? Because we're like chilling right now.
You can't see the comments on the
No. So because of our bandwidth here, yeah, it just doesn't work well. I had to shut down so much stuff just to get it to stop halting because our internet's awesome on the mountain. It's amazing. We run it like, right now I think I'm running at like 40. And I've got 4 computers and he's got 2 computers. So Jeez. Gotta love it. Can't wait until we're in the city.
Yeah. What are you doing in the mountains? Just enjoying some time away from the city, or?
Oh no, that's where we live. Like we live halfway up the mountain in a very tiny town that's like a ski resort type area, which is cool. It's pretty and we're away from humans. But yeah, the internet's horrible. There's one company that does internet and they're just totally horrible service, everything.
So Tenon has reversed back up now into a halt at 1646, giving anyone who panic sold at a huge loss from the debut pretty severe regrets. It's really hard to trade this if it doesn't go the way that you think. Tenon was not a stealth IPO setup to me, so stealth usually has some element of it that's tied to an Asian or Chinese firm. OST, the underwriter being Shengang, or the co-underwriter being Shengang. Securities on top of this is actually a Chinese company. That was the thing that made me confident that this was going to be this kind of setup. Tenon also, $20 is generally my over that. It's just too far to come down. Ignored that once and just got killed. So if it's not what looks like a stealth setup to me, I don't want to go big on it. And Tenon, this could still reverse and go the other way, but I just don't know. It's when I think it could go either way and can't say with any degree of confidence which way it will go. It's not where I want to be putting my money right now. OST at $10 was, looked like the setup that I was anticipating. And that's what gave me the conviction to add to the allocation that I already had. So we'll see. These are not like, and as you can see with these, especially low floats that are kind of manipulated, not kind of severely manipulated. This is not something where you can come in and be setting stop losses, trading with market orders. It's a very different kind of trading than most day trading. There's a lot of just kind of sitting around. And these aren't even the mainstream IPOs where most of the sitting around is just, they go live at like 12:30, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, talking EST times. So there's a lot of sitting around and kind of just watching what it does in pre-debut. The good thing is that when mainstream IPOs debut, usually don't see more than one halt. You might see a halt to the upside. Pretty rare that one that you're going to be excited about or that's getting a lot of media coverage is going to halt down. Downside can happen. I don't remember if Copang halted down, but that was one that was pretty highly anticipated that essentially just sold off as soon as it opened. But with these, it's a different kind of, definitely a different approach to trading than what you're going to see with. So OST is saying it opened. I'm seeing it.
It's not.
Still at 11:10. Seeing price indications at 15.25. Still a lot of or a lot of buying, a lot heavier on the buy side than the sell side here. So I'm not in a rush to sell out of the first halt. I will start thinking about it if it breaks 20. But this really can go. I mean, we've seen these go to 30, 35, 36 in this upward halt. We can see a halt down before it keeps going up. We certainly saw that with GNS, where it halted down below the debut price before climbing up even higher. And with JCSE, I believe we got a halt down from 22 down to like 17 before it then went further up to 26. So it's just kind of halt sticks until it calms down a little bit. But that can be, I mean, if each halt is 10 to 20 minutes, eventually we'll get into some 5-minute halts. Then we should actually see some trading. And by the time it starts trading, most of the like extreme volatility has kind of mellowed out a little bit. It's harder to find that play, but some of the the pattern that we used to continuously see was a series of halts up, a couple halts down, sort of a baseline for a while, maybe at like 15 or 20, and then an end of day run that calmed down into after hours. A little bit of a dip early on the day 2 pre-market that kind of came back up to that stabilization point that we saw on day 1, and then a hard run off the debut to new highs. Some of them would reach 70, 80. So there have been a couple where I was able to hold on to some position into that day 2 run. We just haven't seen that sustained rally in a while. So I'm going to be looking to exit off of the initial run up. But we'll see what we get here. And went live again for a second. Yeah, that's what these do. They go live for a second. You're not going to... you can't really sit here and just if this opens and is actually trading for a bit, then I'm going to start thinking about selling, because once it stops halting up, the move tends to be for it to halt down. So another thing you can do here is if you say, okay, well, I think this is going to 23, you can set a limit order at 23, and if it touches that, great. If not, you can adjust. But calling the absolute top, it will open up out of a halt, touch up, and then reverse down, and that will have been the top. Where that is, I don't know. My guess is it's above 20 and below 40. But we could see 40, on an end of day run. It's not completely out of the question, and I believe we will see some point at which the retail buyers will, kind of flush themselves out. But the Chinese buyers tend to, or the pattern that I see, seem to stay in this play. So we are waiting on halts, pins and needles. But I can say that after having played maybe 100 IPOs or so, I used to get, my heart used to just be racing. I was putting a lot more money into these, but it's a It definitely moves at a different speed than normal day trading, and it's almost difficult to go back, to transition from trading an IPO to just day trading a stock that is moving a few cents here and there. The opening of an IPO is one of the most volatile moments it's got to be the most volatile out of some huge announcement one way or another. But with IPO debuts, they don't really know which way it's going to go. And some of them go way up and they come way down. Almost all of them do, actually. But yeah, it's a different speed than, say, the LPX swings that Ali's typically playing, where you're accumulating over months and then waiting for the rip. So for me, that's another.
Make my money.
Yeah, if I was to go back and give myself some other advice, it'd be, really stick to IPOs. And it's another thing I like is that, and I think, one of the things that applies to Ali's trades as well, is that the market can crash and you don't really care. You bought into you almost are like, all right, well, I just will build more into my positions. Whereas if you're doing more swing trading in, say, normal stocks, especially if you're not shorting on the other side of things, you're kind of don't have a lot of options right now. You're trying to pick off bottoms, but when the market keeps moving down, that can be a dangerous play.
The best thing about shitcos is they don't care what the rest of the market's doing, for the most part. Some of them do. We've got a couple sectors that they'll be in that they do kind of move. But hey, if the market's going down and I'm looking to get in something that has a lockup in 2 weeks, yeah, please and thank you. Follow the market. Die. So
TNON opened up, and for the first time, still bouncing around just because the spread it's got such a large spread, but it hasn't halted yet. Although that is a reason why these tend to halt. There just aren't, when there aren't very many shares being traded. The bids on both sides are so spread out that it only takes one share sells at 20. If the ask jumps up and one share trades at that, it's enough to halt it.
Tenon open and insta halt at 20.44. Nope. Oh, okay. No, it's not insta halt.
It's actually trading. It's just the spread is so wide that it's bouncing around quite a bit, and that would make me very nervous if I was still in this. I don't know what my sentiment would be. Hopeful if I had bought in it, at the open at 22.05 that it comes back, but be pretty nervous. It's what makes it difficult. You don't want to set a stop loss because
it'll hit.
If it halts down, you're stuck in that. You could have a huge slippage. Now, if you caught that bottom at 13.50 or 14, would have been more likely because that's where the halt opened up. Now you're in a great play. Otherwise, it's really hard to trade these once they start moving. I don't know which way it's going to go. It looks like it's halted again. So now we're halted up at 21.20, 21.21, and we're waiting on OST still. OST still looking like it wants to move up. SVRE, someone wants me to look at SVRE. I thought it was not going live today.
I thought that was tomorrow. I thought they changed it last night.
It looks like it's been moved to Friday,
okay.
At least according to these sort of reliable.
Yep, 4:29. I'll update it in the tracker.
Okay. Yeah, so SVRE, this one is an Israeli uplisting, very low float, and I'm not sure. I generally don't play those. They're less predictable, in my opinion, unless it's something that is just screaming. When cryptos were hot and some of the miners were uplisting, those were working. But it has to be kind of. Then again, we've been seeing lower and lower floats. It's almost a race to the bottom. I know that 1 million shares, I believe, is the minimum. We didn't used to see less than like 5 million share floats. Recently, in the last year, I think IPOs have been so difficult to push over the starting line that they've had to reduce the share counts to, okay, we're gonna offer 1.3 million units, and those units have a share plus SVRE. I think it's 1.4 million units, and I think it's one share and one warrant.
I want to say that was a messy one. Maybe not. Oh no, Lucy's a messy one. LUCY is, so they have one common, and then they have a unit consisting of one common, one warrant, one Series A, and one Series B.
Right. So you get 2 warrants, and the Series B expires within a year.
Well, yeah. So, but they're going to use it on the lockup. Right. But if you think about that, and I know you math this a little bit different, but that's a $5 per unit, and they get 4 shares. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I went in on that. Please and thank you. If it even opens close to it, there you go.
You buy the LUCY IPO?
Oh, hell no. No, I'm saying being an insider on it. Oh, yeah. Let me be an insider on that. That'd be great. I want 4 shares for $5.
But that's if you get an IPO allocation, you get, 3 shares for $5, yeah?
Yeah.
So why did the insiders get that extra warrant?
Because they're special. Because they have to be made happy. You know that. You have to keep your insiders happy so they buy into the next one.
So when you do buy these IPOs on Webull, or whatever brokerage, you do get that warrant. If you get the IPO, if you're buying the IPO, you get and it'll show up in your account. And Webull's funny because they'll let you sell your warrant, but you can't buy the warrants usually on Webull.
So if it's on a Series A or B, can we use those? Is the question.
That's the other thing, is the Series B in the F1 filing said that that they did not intend to list the Series B on any exchange.
Gotcha.
So Series A, you could sell on Webull. I don't know what you even do with your Series B. You'd vote. Actually, you can vote, and you can actually convert it to, because most people just sell the warrants when they go up, but you can actually exercise the warrant and turn it into a share and then sell it. So
then with those, can you just sell them, or is it like the convertible where it would be, you have to wait until it hits the actual exercise price, or can you just sell it in immediately?
It's different for each one. You can, if there's a market for the warrants, then, and your platform supports it, then you can sell the warrant as is. But you can also, I've done it before, you can call into E-Trade and be like, hey, I want to exercise my warrants. And they charge you $36 or something, $32. not per warrant, but for
calling in. Yes,
yeah, for calling in and talking to somebody and doing it. And then it converts to the share. TNON has halted down to 1810. This thing is just not halted, just moved and is trading again. So it stalls out. It's just like there's so few shares and the spread is so high. I mean, there's a 1850 bid and 2089 ask. So,
that's gross.
$2.50.
No, I'd walk away.
It's so hard to trade these. I mean, and that's why you should not do a market order. You try to sell a market order, and the difference is $18.50 to $21. Basically, there's a $2.50 spread there. But this looks like it's, the sellers aren't selling; they're not budging, and as long as the sellers kind of hold tight, we could see this go back up. It's tempting to look at this and say, to look at the chart and go, oh, it's on the uptrend. Remember, it's a $5 IPO. Keep reminding yourself that if you're thinking of playing this, that $5 is where this is going on a long enough. You stretch this timeline out long enough, and it's down at $5. So,
still too high price for me.
Yeah, same goes for OST. OST probably not today, maybe not tomorrow, but next week. And at some point, the rug gets pulled on these, and I'm going to just give you some examples because I want you to pay attention to your risk here. Let's go see what JSCE is doing. JSCE is now down to 12, and it was
JCSE. Yeah, today's the dump day.
Dump day. Dumped pretty hard yesterday too. Okay, so this gives us a sense of JCSE opened at 1420, ran as high as 2390. Now it's back down to 12 and went as low as 1125 yesterday. So the one before that was GNS. Show you this one. We're getting a very long hold on OST.
What was the one that everybody's been asking me about it lately? Give me 1 second. It started with 40,000 shares. It was selling shareholders, and it just went crazy. And then they had the dump day. Room, help me out. Something vaccines, Blue Order vaccines, BWV.
Oh, BWV. Yeah.
That one was hilarious, and then that dump day was just nasty.
Yeah, we see here on GNS. We started at what did this one price at? This one priced a little higher, maybe 9.
Which one?
GNS.
Oh yeah.
Priced.
Genius something.
Yeah, GNS was priced at 6, and then ran up to 36.
Gotta love Singapore.
After opening at 6, it didn't actually open at 1662. It opened at 1511. Yeah, that's right. And then, but you see here, day 1, fun. Day 2, okay, well, if you got up early at 4:30 and decided to buy when it dropped to 12, that could have been fun. But otherwise, it kind of just dropped and meandered most of the day. And then day 3, if you were still holding on to some fantasy that it was going to run from there, you were severely punished. If you somehow found shares and shorted them, you're sitting pretty. But yeah, it's now back down to where it IPO'd. So name of the game, do not hold these for a long time. We're seeing a really long halt here in OST, which is not abnormal, but
okay, Matt, pull up CYN. Let's have a little bit of excitement today, kind of. So CYN is a multi-day walker, not runner, walker. And this is one of those that there's so many of them as far as the lockup plays, but the ones that do the actual walks and give tons of opportunity, we don't see them as often. So when you are on a walker, or if you're in a walker, majority of the people I trade with were in around like 120s. On this one, the day that it dropped down, a lot of us got really nice fills. But if you are doing the FOMO thing right this second, because it just hit a new high, don't wait for it to come back. The stair steppers on these are amazing. And if you just pull up, like look left, like I say look left all the time. My profile's Victor looking left for a reason. But you pull up that volume profile, you draw your lines, and see where it's going to go. And this one's literally been stair stepping up the last 4 or 5 days, and is going to continue doing that. And it's going to hit the exercise price, and then it's going to casually walk back down. That's how the walkers work.
What is the exercise price on this one?
So 750 was the list price, and then I think it's 960 something. Hang on 1 sec, I'll pull it up. Because I have a spreadsheet. So this one did have a leak out. April 18th is the lockup expiration. And so we got 750 lists, and then 938 is our exercise price on it. So a lot of people get excited on these and, oh, it's going and, oh, it's topping. And a lot of rooms teach like short on the third day, things like that. That's going to take them out, unfortunately. But I mean, the algos are going to do what they want and they're going to get this to their exercise price. But on the multis, we're seeing a lot less of them. And yeah, I'm watching OST also. We're seeing a lot less of them do like these crazy runs over, where they, we used to see them where they would just first thing in the morning have this crazy pop and then come straight back down and then they would start walking. And the last couple walkers have just been super casual and they get to their exercise price and then they just casually walk back down. It's like super chill plays, but it gives a lot of opportunity both ways. If you're a short, hey, once you hit that exercise price and get just a little bit over, it starts showing, just exhaustion, I guess. That's when you want to start watching it on the other side. Also for longs, that's when you want to be out because the algos are just going to walk it back down. Once they hit their targets, they're good. On the other side of that, we've had a ton of them over the last 6 months is when they've really been just going crazy, where I'll get that alert at like 4 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock my time that they've hit EPs. And I'm like, cool, thanks. I wanted to play that a little bit longer, but sure. So I love the ones that are walkers because they give plenty of opportunity. And I mean, don't chase them.
Out of these on the kind of spike here and then re-entering, or
so I've been walking the room through, getting in and out of it. I actually haven't played any of the waves on this because I've got so much else going on. But normally I would be playing the waves, and I'm going to be getting in on a pullback, of course. So lows consolidation, and then when it starts going again, as soon as it gets to a high and then shows exhaustion off of that, starts coming back down, I'm going to go ahead and sell some, wait for it to come back down, rinse, repeat. So normally I would be playing pretty much every wave on these, but this week and last week have been a little bit crazy for me planning life. So I've just been watching it walk up. But when we have the multi-day walkers, I've had so many people ask, should I get in now? Well, what's it doing right this second? Do you feel like you're chasing? If you feel like you're chasing, your risk has changed and you're not going to be getting in where you should. So take a breath, watch it for a few days. And at this point, like we're halfway to the exercise price. So would I get in it right now? No, it's only, it's 100% up right now. And I know that sounds totally weird, but for me, 400, even 500%, that's fun for me. Anything under like 200, I'm not even going to touch. It's just not worth my time. I spend so much time researching these. I want to just be able to get in and chill. So I know that sounds weird. Every time I say it, I'm like, would I have said that a year ago? Probably not. A year ago, I would have been like, yeah, 100%. Yeah. But your perspective changes. The more you play these and the more you see that they actually do work, the more calm you are and just like, whatever. Also, I was really proud of the room watching all of this and just chilling, staying calm. They're getting it.
So we are seeing OST still halted.
Chilling.
10:21. This is an incredibly long halt. We've got more than a half hour. What is the longest halt I've seen? I saw 3 hours with TIRX, and that debuted at 16, halted at 17 something, and opened at 50.
Dear OST, fix your life.
I don't know what it is that what controls what they are, what they're going, what determines how long the halt is. I assume that it's but who's deciding when to unhalt it? I know how it's decided when to go live. When the IPO goes live, that's the book runner sitting there on the desk, on the phone with the desk at NASDAQ. NASDAQ's calling out the price, saying, okay, we got this many shares at this price. Should we go live? And they go, no, wait a little longer. And they go, okay, well, now it's come down a little bit. You want to go down? No, wait a little longer. Okay, now it's come up to this price. And they go, okay, go live now. They go, are you sure? Yes. And then they, NASDAQ, I assume it's a button. Somebody clicks it and, starts trading at that price. And the, or the trades that are lined up for that at that price get executed, and then trading takes over from there. With with these halts, I don't quite understand it. I don't know. I up until like last week, I thought, oh, well, it's 5 minutes based on this, 10 minutes of this, 20 minutes of this, 30 minutes of this, and I assumed that it was something to do with how far from the from the halt, the price at which it halted to. And maybe some algorithm based on volume and halting time. But last week we saw JCSE open up after 12 minutes.
We're open 1680, 1771. Okay. Matt is just like anything. Talk shit about it, and it does what you want it to do. It's so great.
I'm gonna go home.
All right, we're halted again, 1771. So I was looking up to see what kind of halt it was just on the NASDAQ website, and it was just a regular LUDP, so which is just that's normal. So
yeah, that is the okay. We're seeing the orders come in at like 18, 20, and we'll see. These tend to like change over the next 5 minutes or so, but yeah, 2 halts. That's cool.
Awesome. I'm going to mute for a second and I will be right back.
Sure. All right. So now I'm starting to look at, what are we still seeing orders? Well, we are. We're seeing orders a little bit early into this halt. We don't know if the next one will be a 5 minute or a 10 minute. We're still seeing pretty heavy orders up above the halt price. It's a time when I would go for 3 halts. And I think we've got NASCAR all out here feeding us the opening prices. So appreciate that insight. It's very helpful. If we start seeing things come down the other way, we'll know. But I'm seeing a lot of orders still coming in here pretty high, 20, 18, 18. Those are significant blocks that are going to bring this back up. Having said that, I'm kind of looking for this to break 20. The last couple have. Will this go higher? Could. But you want to not be greedy. We saw, with Tenon, we saw how quickly it can come back down. It can go up. Everybody decides to sell. It can open up way down, and then you're sitting there going, "Damn it." 10 was a really comfortable entry for a setup like this. You are likely going to get a halt down and then still be able to get out with your teeth. This starting to look at, still at 20. We haven't seen buy orders like substantially materialize above 20. So part of me wants to say, okay, well, we've had a great time here today, folks. Maybe I just go ahead and let's say this opens at 18.95 and goes up. 20 would be a pretty hard stop, and that's 100%, basically 100% win from a $10 entry. Would I be super happy to take a 100% win today? Yeah. Am I going to be like unhappy if it goes up to 30? No, because I made 100%. That I didn't make 200%, I can live with that. If you have 1,000 shares, maybe consider, if I was sitting on a very big position right now, if I had gone in with, say, 1,000 shares on this, I definitely would be looking to start scaling out at this halt. It just makes too much sense to say, okay, well, let's take some money and put it back in, put it in my pocket. I'm probably going to be, do what I did last week with JCSE, say 2 halts. I'm super happy with that. I'm gonna look at that. Okay, this is going to 20. I'm gonna wait for these. Wait for somebody to share. NASCAR. I think you got the. the insights here. But yeah, I'm gonna go just above whatever the next halt open is, and say thank you for the gift, Weeble and OST and Prime Number Capital. You guys all set this up perfectly, and I'll go above the limit by say $1. So if we see this opening at say $20, then I'm going to go to like maybe 21.50 and hope to just get kind of popped out on the open spike, and maybe it keeps going up. I don't know, but if not, over 20 would be a great win. That's
20.05 right now on indication.
20.05, so maybe I go 21.50.
I'm gonna go 22. No, I'm totally joking. I like twos. Twos are fun.
Yeah, I actually like to maybe go 21.85. I think it'll hit 22. And then if I see this start to actually trade, then I will probably jump out at whatever I can. So kind of ready to modify my order if I see this open up high and then start to waffle without hitting my limit. I'm okay with getting out pretty much at any point right now. Above 17 would be, you're talking about a big win. Look for 20, 40, 60% wins in a day. It sounds crazy, not as crazy as Ali not wanting to touch anything less than 300%. But when you know.
That's what all the research is.
When you know how all these work, that's what you're looking for. Just to clarify, I mean, you don't have to hit every trade. It's just that you spread yourself out. And we talk about these lockup trades, these LPX trades. You spread yourself out in a bunch of them, and even a few of them hit. You're not losing much on the ones that don't, but they kind of all hit. If I give them enough time.
I only average like 1 out of 3 or 4 on actual size. So,
and at what time will you give up on a trade?
It kind of depends. So VGFC I was asked about this morning, and that's one of those. So I stopped out some on the way down, but I've been staggering it, and I have a buffer. That's why I play the waves on the initial. So, okay. Reality, they're like a week and a half past their 180-day. So, okay, I'll give it a little bit more time. Generally, I'll give it about a month, as long as it doesn't just crazy die, reverse. But I have my stop losses staggered, so I have very minimal risk. If you're in huge on these and you don't have your risk already set, yeah, they're super dangerous. And then at that point, the upside doesn't even matter, because like on this one, the first drop was from 70 cents. Like it walked up from 50 and hit 70. And a lot of people thought it was going from there. We weren't at the lockup yet. They had a ton of stuff that they extended. And I was like, stop losses in place. So luckily, everybody that I know was playing it at that point did have stop losses. So when it dropped, everybody got cleared out. We get back in the 30s, rinse, repeat. So the stop losses are really important. But as far as actual giving up, I mean, there's a couple of them that I'm still partial positions that are like 2 months past their lockup. They've got other things that have different time frames. So are they going to run it all at the same time? Yeah, probably. If they've got a stagger or a leak out, they're going to run it when the bulk of everything can be used. So I have to track a lot, obviously, on these. Each one's a little bit different, but for the most part, if it starts just dying, I'll be like, I'll go ahead and pull out of it and see. Tenon just hit 25.05. It's got a pretty good volume candle, so it looks like it's actually trading again. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, and it looks like, so one thing you want to keep, if you were a bag holder at 22.05 and you're now green, that's perhaps part of the reason that we just saw a little bit of leveling out right here. It came back up, and people who got stuck, not a lot of them, but then again, there's just not much volume going on here. People started to kind of like, take my money back. I have modified my OST. I think we're looking at, what are we looking at, 20? So I'm looking now 25. To kind of like get out at whatever. I'm not going to try to be cute with this. I'm just going to say, okay, well, I'm going to take whatever I get on the open, and that's what I'm going to be happy with. If it's 20, it's 20. I'm not going to try to punch above that. a lot of times we'll see that, but when we don't see as much volume as we saw before, and that's time to be a little safer. So Steve's saying, "Told you so." Right. He's called 30 from the debut halt, and it looks like it's headed that way. Would have been giving me a pretty big heart attack if I had taken a position, and it was, when it's down at 1350, that's not an easy hold, but if you picked up shares down here, good for you. I'm out of day trades after OST today, and although this is OST, the way it's looking now, it's going to take me a nice step closer towards that stupid FIRNA rule where if you don't have 25,000 in your account, you're not allowed to trade more than 3 times in 5 days or whatever it is. It's ridiculous.
We're open 2180, open 2095.
Yeah, and I'm
22,
out at
24.
2022, and it's halted again. This is just running and running and running.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. So
yeah, it's halted, right?
To be fun, I put my order at 22.25, and it halted a penny below.
Well, you're still in, and it's still going up. That's funny.
No, I want it out. I want to make more coffee.
Well, I got out at exactly 100% win on the 100 shares that I added to my allocation, and I don't know what that is. 300% win on the allocation. So, thank you, OST. That was a nice win there. And this one looks like it's still going up. Should you buy in now? Definitely not.
No.
Should you buy into Tenon now? Tenon now actually is more. If you had to pick one to buy into, what would you do?
Neither. I don't like risk.
No, you have to. You have to.
No.
I'm giving you someone else's money.
Do I want to jump off this cliff or this cliff? Which one do I want to jump? What's farther to fall?
Okay, your worst enemy. Your worst enemy's money. Which one do you put it in?
Oh, my worst enemy? Absolutely Tenon.
Yeah. Okay. You think Tenon's going down from here?
Yeah.
OST.
I'm with Steve. I think it's going to go up a couple bucks, and then it's just going to crash and burn.
I think Tenon goes up. I think it really could get ridiculous, and then it'll start being ridiculously choppy. OST.
I mean, it's halted again, so who knows?
Yeah, we're in halts on both of them. OST. So, I mean, it looks like 2380 is the next one.
Yeah, we've got 2380 on this side also.
Yeah, that was instant buying power. Thank you. Gonna just see. Yeah, basically.
Hey, we've got some LPX plays if you want to get in those, Matt.
What are those?
I'm not saying I'm live. No, I know better.
Okay.
I'll message you later.
Yeah. I'm really happy with in this market just playing the IPOs right now. LPX trades, they are
longer.
Just look at how much time you spend. I mean, I'm not saying they're not worth it, and you're way on top of it. But if you don't have, I think when I can finally get out of some of these longer positions that I'm stuck in, and have some spending power, I'll look at spreading into some that I like. But these IPO trades, I mean, I'm just in and out, and it's in one day, and I spent a few hours here. But that OST trade was what? You made $2,000 on that. Is that right?
I mean, with 25 shares, I'm up $456. So yeah, you had a lot more than I did. Yeah, so I didn't add anything. I tried and it didn't work, so I just left it alone.
So I got 50 shares on the allocation, about 100 on the debut, sold all of them at 2022, and I'm up $1,823.
Nice.
On a pretty, I mean, that's not a huge, I used to play these 1,000 shares. That's what I'd love to get back to, because this would have been a big winner. I'm sure some of you are. If we've helped you make some money here, like, share, help us promote what we're doing. I do have
Subscribe.
yeah, subscribe for sure. Hope you've all done well.
Are you over 1,000 yet on YouTube? Can you
Not even
monetize yet?
close.
Not even
No,
close? You
not even
guys, help
close.
Matt out. Seriously. You guys know I'm not going to monetize. I'm that person. I'm like, whatever. I'll let YouTube make the money. But dude, Matt's in like the crazy situation right now. He's trying to get his life back together with all the war stuff. So like that shit,
I do have
subscribe.
a GoFundMe actually, because
There you go.
people have contributed, and it's greatly appreciated. It is getting back on our feet after evacuating Ukraine. I'm going to go ahead and post my link here. Hope this doesn't
Tenon just
offend
insta-halted
anyone.
down.
Yeah.
It is not going to offend anyone, Matt. They understand that you are in not the greatest situation. You get to pay for, your next child being born twice. Oh, ouch.
Looks like we're gonna get free. Looks like we're gonna get free. I don't know if that's clickable or not, so maybe it's useless anyway. But
I mean, it's pretty easy to.
I can put it in the chat too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, throw it in the chat.
Yeah.
You can. Other people can't link. OST 1971 insta halt down.
Okay, OST has begun to give up some steam here.
Yeah.
We don't know that this is the end of the ride, but this is where that 3 halt rule, 1, 2, 3 halts, that's where I exit. You would have gotten out at 2190, which was, I was thinking 2195 before I said, no, screw it, get out after the second halt. But this is why after 3 halts I tend to get out. I used to notice 3 halts up, and then I didn't know where it would go from there. This could come down, could go back up. Very hard to tell, but once you get to a certain threshold, you have to expect people to be like, well, I don't want to be too greedy. I'm up. I got in at $4 and it's at 22. All right, well, maybe I take some profit. So each of the 4 accounts. All right. I subscribe each. Thank you. Yeah, no. It's not an algo. It's just how many subscribers you have. And yes, I was able to subscribe with my other Google accounts, and that adds to the ticker. So, or adds to the count. So once I get to, I'm sure I have enough. It's a combination of things. It's a total number of streamed hours, watched hours. In other words, if you have an hour-long video and 1,000 people watch it, then you get 1,000 hours of people watching. And I think that's the threshold that you have to reach. Maybe I'm wrong.
Are you talking about for YouTube?
Yeah, for YouTube monetization, you have to reach.
So YouTube monetization, it's 1,000 on your subscribers or 4,000 hours watched.
But I think we have that. I mean, these streams are.
Oh, put in for it then.
I thought it was automatic, and I think that it's. But I think you have to have both. I think you have to have both 1,000 subscribers.
They changed it. No, they changed it. It's one or the other. Yeah. So you just go on. Yeah, change it over. So YouTube monetization, it's on your little settings thing, and just do it. And I get shit all the time for not monetizing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually. Whatever.
I definitely need to at some point figure out how to monetize. Or I mean, I've always planned on monetizing the newsletter, and I've been told I should have no problem with it. IPOs kind of went into. I mean, now we're back into a good flow of IPOs where I think people would be willing to, but I mean, I'm paying out of pocket for the MailChimp account and the StreamYard subscription. So at some point, either there's other ways to earn money through these, but the standard way generally is hey, if I'm bringing you value, you can pay $20 a month for a newsletter. I don't know. I'm sure I'll lose some people, but other people would be happy to, to pay that. I think people who are on board with this trading strategy have made a lot more than that. I've also had some very generous contributions from people. When I wanted to buy the live streaming equipment, my wife was kind of like, if you can get other people to pay for it, but you're not spending a couple $1,000s of our money when we have 2 kids. So I put together a Fundly, and the IPO Warrior community funded it within like 10 days or something. So I'm very grateful for the contributions. Would love to be able to spend more time on this, and one of the ways to do that is to figure out how to monetize what you're doing. So you got to get a lot of YouTube. You got to get a lot of plays on YouTube also before you're making much money through those ads. So Game of Jones, thanks for joining us. Game of Jones is on Twitter. He's a good follow as well. We have been chatting and alerting each other on these plays for much longer than I think I even had IPO Warriors. So shout out to him. The wife is always right. I can say about 3 things in Russian. Which is like, I love you. I can tell my dogs like sit, stay, go for a walk in Russian. And I can say, Te svegda prava is you are always right. So, ya lubu tebya, that's I love you. So I can say 3 important things, and maybe the most important one is you're always right. So, keeps her happy.
All right, we're open. I'm
OST
out.
Moving back up, and you got your out.
I'm out. So 22.25, I went ahead and left my order. It was kind of one of those YOLO things, like whatever. So
with your
yay.
25 shares. Good job.
On 25 shares. It's so ridiculous. I haven't played with 25 shares in a while.
Well, so playing with 25 shares and making $10 on each share, or what? $12 on each. Oh no, it's more than that. Almost $20 on each share.
Yeah. So the allocation was 25 at $4, and my sell is 22.25. Same, and it's like, that's the thing. I have my P&L turned off. So it's like 400 something. Yeah, I'm that person, you guys. I have my P&L actually turned off. It's not even on my screens, and that's just my thing. I don't like watching it, and I'll check it normally at like the end of the week and see where I'm at. So it keeps me calm, I guess. I don't have to worry about stuff.
I like to watch it on wins. On losses, I think it's like when you
see, but my stop losses just take me out. So I'm not even like, is it gonna get? And no, I'm out. Like, and I don't move my stops. I'm that person. If it hits, it hits. Cool. So
I have been, when my larger positions were up a week or 2 ago, I was getting into some of these LPX plays, and then when things started coming down and I was still up, I went ahead and started learning from Ali's stop loss approach, and I think I keep them a little too tight, but it locks in wins, and then when you need cash for other things, you're getting out, and then you're out in the green. So I was in VGFC at 38, and then at 52, I realized that it's not really my type of play. I don't like the float on it. I like these really low float ones, and VGFC I think is like 60 million shares or something. What is it? It's more than I felt like it was. Like I like these low float videos.
It's pretty high, and at this point, the only reason that I'm playing it is they are planning to do the organic compliance. So, okay, cool. It'll get back up to $1. And honestly, that's probably all I'm going to play it is up to $1. And we'll see. But that's still, I don't know.
200% win.
Yeah, I'll take it.
That'd be nice. So we do notice that jumping back over to OST, we see that the volume has started to kind of, the first minute we had 100,000 shares, second minute, or this minute of trading out of the second halt. Then we had 100,000. Then we had 50,000. Then we had 70,000. Now we're down to 26,000. So once the volume kind of dies out here, we also see that these bid walls that were like 10,000 and 20,000 shares before, these have come down. And that doesn't mean that once it starts trading again, the algorithm won't get turned on and just jump it up again. But I'm starting to see this as like, I would be, if I was still in this, I would be getting completely out of the next halt. I probably would have sold off everything already. I might have held like a token for later to see where it went. But 1, 2, 3 halts, I would have been out there. And if you're still in this, you're starting to get into, it's not super risky because these tend to spike and then level out. But that level out, could run up to 37 and level out at 20. It could, this could be the top. One more spike up maybe. But it could come back down and start trading at like 15, 16. So we see that level out, and then where it goes from there, I really don't know. It used to be pretty predictable for these to do an end of day run. They would even eclipse the initial high, but we haven't seen that so much anymore. And it's, like I said before, it's a little difficult for me to adjust to this halt, and then watching it actually trade and start to trying to think. Like, I don't like to think that much. I like to just know that I'm going to get in here on the debut and know that I'm going to get out once it's spiked up a bit. So got TNON still bouncing around a lot. We've got 50-cent spread. Not a lot of order volume here. We got a seller at 26. And you got to see the volume here is like, in this tick minute was 400 shares. It's not quite like what we're seeing over here. That was a halt. That was half a minute where it halted, so can't really count that. I guess that was the same thing.
Yeah, Tenon's not fun. Though if you had caught it at 13, but still as
reversal.
Do what?
I said if you called that reversal down here, that meant basically buying it out of the, this halt, which is pretty scary. There's no, and then what? You're up here, you keep holding all the way to 28. I don't think, more than anything, I don't think that's something you want to train yourself to do, because more often than not, you don't get this one, and then you'll see this setup again in the future, and like, oh, I'm going to go, what was it about? What was it about this setup that you loved that like it was way oversold to like RSI 0? But still, there's still a huge downside to a $5 IPO. Same with OST. I mean, again, remember that where we're at right now is up 477%, 420% from the IPO price. So keep that in mind. OS, I would be surprised if we didn't see one of these eventually go to like 900%. OST, for example. But we've seen this before.
OST was what, 400? 500?
It's at 477 right now.
Percent? Okay.
Yeah. 500% is.
I'll pull up my actual percentage. I think it was like 450. 452, according to this. Nice. I don't believe that.
And I kind of wonder, like, so at 25 shares, you got the full allocation that you requested, or you requested 100 shares?
I requested 100. So the last time I did it, I requested 1,000, and they were like, "You get 0." Okay, and then that one ended up tanking. I don't even remember what stock it was, but it priced it like 4 or 450, and it opened at like 3 something. I don't remember what. No, it was MTech, the one that we actually nailed. But that one, like, I got 0 on the allocation. So I was like, screw this ticker. And then it dropped and we caught it perfect. So that ended up working out well. Like, I would have been stuck in it had I got all of that. So I still would have been stuck in it. It's like $1 right now. So that was kind of a blessing. Yeah. But because of that, I was like, I'm going to, like, if I lose $400, I lose $400, whatever. Goes to 0. Okay, fine. But yeah, so 25 shares. That's going to be the joke. Totally. But hey, whatever, $400. That's.
I'm trying to figure out what they, so I requested 300 shares and they gave me 50 shares. So I kind of wonder what threshold did they say, okay, well, you get, I mean, it clearly wasn't.
What was your time that you put it in?
Like
because I did it late.
I went in early, but then I kept updating it as I tried to get. I mean, I put in more. I put in another like $1,000 into my account to try to get more, which I then was able to use to actually trade this. But the point, when I was modifying my order throughout the week. I even modified it last night to up it a little bit from like 200 to 300. So I don't know at what point they said.
Well, I left my original, and it was from the 25th, and the time. I mean, it is Eastern time, so it was 5:40 Eastern time on the 25th, and I didn't change it. I just left it, but then I didn't know how it filled because last time I just got nope, you don't get any shares, and I had no idea the time frame on it. And then somebody replied. I posted it last night. I'm like, I got exactly 0 shares, and somebody posted that I have to wait until morning, and I was like, oh, cool, there's still hope. So, but yeah, it might have to do with the times you put in. I have no idea. I can always ask Weeble and be like, hey.
Well, I know they say that like if you just that we want you to hold these for 30 days, otherwise it may be held against you. And I'm just like,
cool, thanks.
Holds this 30 days, you crazy. Okay, someone said JCE is reversed. I don't know if this counts as a reversal yet.
I mean, we've got a couple different China dumps going on right now. So yesterday was obviously the first of them. So
dump day.
Yep, dump day and then rinse repeat. They definitely get what they can out of these. It's kind of crazy.
Again, remember that trying to call the bottom on these is really...
We're open 2680, 25. Oh, it's gonna be a red candle. 24, 25, 2405.
Yeah, I don't see any algo.
Oh, no, it's not halting yet. I think that Steve's gonna be right on 30. He said 30 on OST also, right? Or was it just Tenon?
It was Tenon.
Yeah, we're gonna hit it, I think. It's thinking, yeah, it's starting to trade normal now. I don't like normal trades. I would be out of it either way.
Yeah, once it starts doing this, I start getting to start reaching, scrambling for that sell button. But
I'm happy with my bunch of twos.
3 hot rules, yeah. Did you go 22-22?
No, I did 22-25. You can only have 3 twos in a row. I don't know why. I'm weird like that. I do that with a lot of stuff. Like I'll have I
use 23. Yeah.
You use 23 for dental time. 2:30.
Dental time 2:30. When do you see the dentist? Okay, Steve said over here going above 30 shortly. So Steve, you're you called it.
Good job, Steve.
Called the setup. We'll see if you get your number there. 30. Looks like it could, but it is not moving much because the spread is over $1 or just under $1, floating around $1. Not a lot of buyers, not a lot of sellers. Just move slowly. I hate to be in that kind of trade. One person shows up and decides, oh, I just have had enough. I'm going to sell 1,000 shares, and it drops down to 23. OST looks like we are entering this sort of like discovery mode where it tries to figure out, well, where are we going to baseline at today? It's done just insta halting. So can halt. My guess is, all right, we got an algo pushing it. We got somebody.
Yeah, we definitely have an algo on it.
So it's got an algo at 26. Unless a big seller comes in, it's going to get pushed up. There it goes. 28. Jeez. Oh, we got a huge spread though, so.
Yeah, it's a $1.25 spread right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, algo definitely sitting at 26 right now. Cool.
It looks like this is going back. This is going to another halt. I said if I get out of 20, I'm happy. If it goes to 30, happy for people that held on, but I'm not going to regret. My first rule, and this is after holding too long on a few plays, was take profits without regret, because you get in this mindset if you allow yourself to regret selling too early, where you just keep holding too long. And I find it just psychologically so much easier to sell on the way up than after it's coming down. Because once it starts, because once it's coming down, you keep hoping that it's going to reverse and come back to where you were before. And more often than not, it doesn't. And then you're just losing money the longer you lament your, you allow yourself to regret this stuff. So,
and hope is not a strategy. It's really not.
Not a winning one anyway. So,
I mean, if you want to stay in the game, hope's not a strategy.
Right. Yeah, we've got both of them kind of like setting into actually trading. And by that, I mean, we're not just halting hard in one direction or the other. My feeling is that VWAP, or my experience has been that VWAP starts to become a North Star at some point. So it's very dangerous to buy at this point on either of these when you've got VWAP at 21.89 on Tenon, and you've got VWAP at 1980 on OST. When VWAP is just below a hard number like 20, 20 might be, if you were trying to say, oh, I want to try to, oftentimes we'll see a spike down and then recovery before that end of day run. But again, remember how far we are from the IPO price on all of these and where these are ultimately going. But once we see these things kind of stop halting up, VWAP often is kind of the next stop. So I'm going to stick around a little bit longer here, and I think we've gotten everybody hopefully not playing Tenon. That we said that was just very, very risky to begin with. And I hope we got you into OST and out with the big profits. So I appreciate all the support, you guys. Appreciate Ali joining us. She is Trading Fit Girl on Twitter. So give her a follow for sure. Her courses are definitely something you should be watching if you're looking at these trades that she pulls off. I mean, she, again and again and again is in these low float runners that for many people just came out of nowhere. For her, she's been talking about them for months usually before they run, and she's built her position. And those who have taken the time to learn and understand what's behind these trades have, are right there along there with her. So definitely recommend following and getting to know her. A lot of information. Everyone just jumped to JCSC. I wish everyone jumped to HTCR. That's the kind of the big one that I'm stupidly didn't sell when it ran and gave me an out about 3 weeks ago.
HTCR, is that a lockup? What is that?
I believe it is, but it's not till like August. And I heard some rumors that that's got some stuff coming up, but that stupidly kept me in. And,
so their 180-day is August 9th, and it has one insider that has 69% of the shares, which is under Reg D rule, of course, 506. And that is at the 6 month. And then directors have agreed to February 5th, 2023 before they can sell. So this is going to, it probably had the 90-day pop, and then, which is, of course, just a basic rule. And then when that one home dude can sell at, in August, that's when we'll have it. So yeah. And he has 2/3.
I think that's the CEO. Yeah.
I didn't look to see who it actually was. I just look at percentages. And so. Well, I'm that person.
Much longer than I want to be, but
yeah.
Oh well, so be it. I really should.
I can do a deep dive and see if I can find anything on it. Sometimes I can. Yeah. There's been a few of them that I'm like, oh, this totally has this weird number in between. Like one of them I thought was only a 90 and 180, and then we found that they had a 120, and that's why they ran. So, and then they adjusted their pricing because it did run at 120. So we get those occasionally. It's not
They
as often.
adjusted their EP.
They adjusted. Well, it had ran way over the EP, so they adjusted the lockup. All of it is just all of the rules are just really a recommendation. And in every single one of them, it says if the underwriter agrees that they can adjust them. That's a fun little clause in every single 424.
We got ACON running
occasionally
again.
happens. Yeah.
ACON is just popped.
Yeah, ACON and STSS just popped. I'm pulling them back up on my screens. I got the volume alerts for it.
GCSE is in a halt. It is, people ask me, well, do market conditions affect these? And I think they do, because when the market is kind of dead, people, day traders and algos and, they need something to trade. And low float IPOs can quickly become the focus of something that, can get pumped relatively easily.
Yeah, so STSS and ACON are both rooms right now. Okay. And I mean, JCSE is just the China chaos going on.
Right.
Which is totally normal. Everybody thinks that it's this huge conspiracy theory, but we definitely have the proof of it. So don't think anything in this Ponzi scheme of a market is impossible, ever.
Yeah, I mean, the market exists to raise money for companies, but there's definitely people who are, manipulating it and collaboratively trading this to maximize their own profit through.
Of course. BLBX was a perfect example earlier. There was a room literally telling where it was going to go, and it was sell here, buy here. And it's somebody that we know shorts his own room. So it got interesting just watching it. That was one of the things I was paying attention to earlier. And that stuff happens. And
just look at how fast these reverse back down.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why you don't chase. You
don't ever chase.
Either are already in it because you felt like, oh, this is, you're kind of taking stabs in the dark here, but ACON has bounced off 215 ever since the IPO. Dropped down to 215 on day one, spiked. Dropped down to 215 on day. Let's just go look at it.
Yeah, this is why I draw the lines. And if you look at the volume profiles, they match so well. Yes, my room just verified STSS is a room.
Right. ACON, there's no news here. They just closed the IPO yesterday, and now it's getting pumped. There it is. That's all. There's no rhyme or reason.
That's a room. We're still looking for how many of them are on it. Because normally we'll have rooms that are back-to-back it.
OST coming back down. VWAP is up to 2045 now. Volume has really started to die off. Any trade you take above VWAP on these is extra dangerous. So
verified 2 rooms on ACON.
Yeah, okay.
This is why I love having a total view. It's so great.
Having an army?
Yes, absolutely. Funny enough, a lot of us are veterans also, so it makes it even better.
All right.
Hence why I have no worry about cussing. I trust people that cuss. So there we go. We have a room that
CRXT borrow rate is 300%.
CRXT, yeah, that was the one they dropped an MEF. It's a DSPAC. They dropped an MEF off of one of the older S1s, and it was at $1 something, dropped down to 80 or 70 cents, something ridiculous, and now it's on its way back up. Yeah, the DSPACs are not as predictable right now. We've been kind of avoiding them as a group just because, a lot of them have those 1150 warrants or units, whatever they have them set up as, but that's an option to buy. It's not Like, they don't have to buy those. They can buy them, but they don't have to. So is it ever actually going to have to get back up there? Probably not. So when you're looking at the de-SPACs, yeah, a lot of them do. But on the other side of a lot of them just die. I mean, we've got several of them right now that are sitting at $1 and $2. And I keep getting the question, is it going to go back up to $11.50? It might, but am I going to wait for it to do a bunch of choppiness? Probably not.
Yeah. It's very hard to get into a play, get seriously upside down on it, and then hold past where you got in.
Yeah, I know.
And so I really hate that setup, which is so much why I buy into your theory of like, look, stop losses not only save your account, they keep you liquid. Yeah, I wouldn't be in this HTCR position had I applied that rule to at least this portion of my position once it was up. So learn from your mistakes, people.
Always.
Yeah, we got OST is still halted. It halted down, so it looks to me like it's going to take a little bit of downside and then trace right around VWAP for a while. Then, you could say, well, it went from 4 to 28, so it's a significant run. We do see these kind of level out at some point in the day. Usually, it'll like spike down and then come back up, and then from there, it's hard to guess. It used to be almost like a rule that they would run at the end of the day. So if you want to look for another trade on this one, I would wait until it establishes a baseline, and then try to pick off a position with kind of a bid, kind of just below VWAP if it spikes down, because people sell off in blocks and then it'll recover, and then try to lock in a stop loss like above your entry, and then let it ride. I don't have any day trades left in my Webull account, so I'm not even going to be looking for it. I'm going to try to kind of, once we wrap up here, I'm just going to go get some other work done. Another thing that I've realized is that I'm not a great day trader, and the trades that I have done well on are kind of like these 7 a.m., 8 a.m. news drops, where if I'm just sitting there looking at my Benzinga news feed, and I can catch it in the first 2 or 3 minutes after the first kind of leg up, well, then you got a second leg up coming once people, the kind of the second wave of people read the headline and decide that it's time to get in. I can catch those, and otherwise day trading off, bottom swings, that game has been very dangerous because the market keeps moving down. So that's one thing to trade that in a bull market. If you kind of pick the wrong moment to get in on that day, give it a few days, and the whole market's come up again. So I think I got into a little bit of a bad habit trading in the hype and heat of 2021, 2020, thinking that I was a decent day trader. I clearly am not. So IPO trades, that's my thing. I'm going to stick to that. And then, I like it because I get into the trade, get out. Sometimes it's a day two hold, but for the most part, it's not. And then I'm, about my day. I'm not, just constantly checking my phone, trying to see where things are. I'm sitting here, I'm focused, I'm trading. And then when I'm done, I put it down. Today, when I was out of high school, took a gap year in college, and I was only making $2,500 a month. I made almost that in one relatively small trade today. So it is cool to stack up those wins. I do the research. It's not like I don't spend time figuring this stuff out. Do the research, write up the newsletter, show up on Benzinga every Monday, and that keeps me glued into the game. But it also allows me to have kind of another job where I build websites and design software for people. And then, I should plug this while I'm here. Thesound.com. Thesound.com. We help fund dog rescue efforts by offering free music that you can play on Spotify or thesound.com. And every time you listen to one of our songs, Spotify kicks us out a royalty of about 0.3 cents per stream. But if you're streaming it nonstop all month, that's $50 that goes towards about half of it goes towards dog rescue efforts. So thesound.com, check it out. It's another way to support me and support the our favorite canine companions.
For children.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
That's
OST still holding on. It still hasn't dumped down to VWAP. I would expect it to before it gives any further upside. So I would not be jumping in here. If you want to kind of leave a limit order open at say 20. I'd say 2005 or 2015. If it gets down towards 20, I think it'll bounce. But the heavy upside move on OST seems to be played out. TNON, not such a different pattern. I guess one of these gives us a pretty heavy end of day run, but there's no guarantees in this world. And the easy plays on both of these, I don't think TNON gave an easy play, but if you did venture to risk that dip into the sub 15 region over here, you had an opportunity to take a pretty nice win. OST was just so straightforward. Buy the debut, sell at some point on the way up here, take your profits and be happy. So I see the user count is CSC. Let's just take a look at this one before we bounce.
It's bounced back up to 1319 is where it's halted. It flushed to 878.
How do you call the bottom there? I mean, from 878, you're still not at any logical. How is that?
Well, actually, if you look at exactly what it did yesterday, the drop was almost identical as far as the dollar amount.
Okay. Number of halts, dollar percentage.
Yep. All a puzzle.
Coincidence or reliable strategy?
I mean, I wouldn't count on it, but I don't think it was a coincidence by any means. I think it was purposeful by the people that are dumping on the other side.
You think they're all sitting in a room together, or chatting on WeChat, saying WeChat's the Chinese WhatsApp, telling each other when to get in and out. I don't know. Oh,
they definitely coordinate. There is coordination.
Okay. Yeah, you would think so. When they all of a sudden, when you see a stock like TIRX, and this is just the last thing I'm going to show here.
I mean, it's the same with the rooms on STSS and Acon. Like it's the exact same, just control behind it. Like we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. Like it happens. There's nothing that's going to stop it. I have so many. Well, not anymore because I've muted a lot of people that get angry about it because I don't deal with it. But so many people are like, that has to stop. Do you not see like how the market actually works? If you think it's all conspiracy theory, I don't know what to tell you. Start reading. But we have so many people that get angry about the pump and dumps and all of this. And it's just like, dude, that's literally, think of the tulip craze back in the 1800s or 1600s. I don't remember when that was. Like, what? No, it's always been like that. And it will always be like that. It's okay.
And you can't fight it. You're not the SEC.
No,
and the SEC has way too much to do with it.
Doesn't care anyway. They don't care anyway.
They either accept it and adapt, or go do something else with your time. But
right.
I wanted to show you guys TRX. I've shown this many times before. I made a small fortune on this one. Got in 1,000 shares at 16. Got out at the halt at 50. It then came down and ran all the way up to over $100. It was up at 100. It was up at 90. It was up at 97 on the same day. It just got smoked. And it actually went from 97 at the high to $12 at the low. When these get pulled, you don't want to be at this party, and it's hard to get out. They halt down real quick. And they're trying to call the bounce on this. There was no bounce. It was just down, down, down until finally it hit 12 and reversed up to 18. And that was towards the end of the day. I know a lot of people who tried to, call it at, 60. They tried to call it at 25. And there's just because these start to move down. So it's really dangerous to be looking at these and go, oh, whenever they dip twice, I'm going to buy in, and then like 2 halts down, and then it recovers. There's no rule to that. The only rule is that this is eventually going to like $1.
So that's TIRX, right?
Yeah.
So I have it as a verified China dump. The first day was April 28th, 2021, and the second one was June 3rd, 2021.
Yeah. There's April 12th. What was the next one? June 2nd?
June 3rd.
Yeah, 2nd to 3rd. So,
magic.
The temptation to try to catch extra, to double dip on these, try to recognize this trend. Just know that at this point you're guessing. You're guessing that this wasn't the dip or that this was the bottom. Tenon, OST, these will fall down to $2, $3, $1. Be aware that as you contemplate any trade, and if you do get stuck upside down, the longer you wait to get out, the more you're just wishing that something way out of your control or anticipation is gonna save you and rip it back up. But all right, Allie, anything you want to add here before we sign off?
No. Well, so for me, I'm doing one more video this week. So if you guys do want to see an LPX or uplist review, let me know on Twitter. Just post it. Please make sure it's it's either an OTC uplist or an IPO. I've been getting some of random ones lately, and that's just not what we're playing right now. But yeah, if you guys want to see tickers, let me know. I'll be doing one by Friday, and then I'll be doing one again this weekend. Also, Victor, my little dude, his birthday is May 2nd. So sorry, not sorry, but I'm going to spam you guys with pictures of my little guy. So it'll be a fun day. Everybody can play it and play along.
My daughter's is May 4th. So
yay, Taurus.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. I love it. That's so cool.
It is. My brother pointed that. I didn't quite realize that, but the day she was born, my brother's like, "Oh, you love Star Wars? Star Wars Day." Like, eh.
There you go. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, you guys have a great day. Matt, have an awesome rest of your day.
You too, Allie. Thanks so much for joining me here. And
thanks for having me.
Happy trading. Good luck out there, guys.
Happy trading. Happy hump day, guys. Bye.
Bye.